Hello everyone. In this session, we will try to understand functions or methods and variable scopes. If time permits, we will look at the program execution flow. Okay, so this is one of the important concept. This is common concept across all the languages, and we will mainly discuss in the point of Java. And yeah, so this is important concepts for the future sessions. Okay. So what is function or what is method? Okay, let's try to understand that. For example, close everything. Okay, so maybe we'll create one more package. Okay, maybe we call it as functions. Okay, and okay, let's create a class functions demo. Okay, and we know main method is mandatory at least to run individual Java program. So okay, you can like we are talk every time we are talking like main method. So main is also one of the method. Okay, and function or a main function or main method we call it as. And we are not going in depth into functions. We will talk about methods in another session with more detail. But for now, you try to understand very basic idea. Okay, suppose, for example, so in the previous sessions we saw like print elements in an array. So suppose what we are doing in an array or a matrix, for example. Suppose we have two arrays or matrix. In that case, so we have to do logic to print matrix or matrix print array 1. We have to write logic print array 2. Okay, let's try the same using so let's comment this for our understanding. So we will simply copy the code since we have already done this. So for example, okay, for example, we will take yeah, this one. So we have a, okay, this is a matrix, okay, 2 by 2 matrix or 2 by 2 array or two-dimensional array. Okay, we are taking this. So this is just printing the values, okay, from an 2D array. Okay, let's print this. Okay, okay, let's run this as a Java application. Okay, so it is printing. Suppose we have one more array, one more two-dimensional array. So that is for example new just for this case. So now suppose we want to print values again, okay, for the second array. Suppose array 1 values, array 2 values, and we will, okay, let's print this up. So, okay, so if you see here, we are again repeating the code. Okay, this is the same, only change is array. We are passing new array, that's it. So if you want to print 10 arrays, in that case we have to repeat this code multiple times. So this is like if you want to modify one change, in that case we have to modify all the places. So this is one problem. So this is where Java functions or methods comes into picture. So that's where functions are useful. A function is a block of code that can be reused. So block of code that can be reused with a certain parameters so that that will be used. Okay. Suppose let's remove this. Okay. Let's move this into a separate method. So method is method should be inside a class. Okay, there is a syntax for method also. Okay, so method name. So method name and then open close brackets, and here there is something called parameters. Okay, so these parameters can be anything like integer, strings. There can be like multiple parameters, etc. And even there can be array parameters also. Like in main method, this is the deep main syntax. So there should not be any change in the signature. We call it as okay. Yeah, we will go deeper into methods. As of now, we'll try to get the basic idea. Okay, now we can put return type. Return type in the sense, suppose method can perform some logic and then it can return the value, or it can I mean it's not mandatory to return. So there are some return types. Okay, either this can be integer, like if suppose we are doing sum of two numbers, so that logic is here, and we are trying to return like the sum value. In that case we can put integer. And also there is something called access specifier, or yeah, access specifier, like public. There are different access specifiers. Maybe we will go through them in the later sessions. For now, you can just so so this is something like, maybe we will talk these terminologies later. But for now, you can, yeah, we'll just focus like, okay. So what we were doing, we are copying the code inside. Okay. So maybe we will just comment this. Okay. So we can have these parameters also optional. Okay, we no need to have the parameters also. So for example, so print array is the method name, and it is not returning anything. Okay, this is the return type. Void, this is the keyword in Java. It is identified by Java compiler. Like void means no return type. Return type of print array. Like we are not returning anything. So we are simply printing here, and then actually we can, okay, for example, so this is one way we can do. So we can call anywhere, like anywhere means a method can be called within another method. And you can see this can't be called inside a static, like maybe we will see, yeah, cannot be make static reference. Yeah, maybe we will look at in the next session about access specifiers and the more detail in the functions. For now, you can just yeah, focus on, okay. So let's make this also static. so that both are static, so both can be accessed. So now we are calling, let's run the same. You can see it is printing whatever is there. So now what we want to do, we want to keep it outside, like, so before calling the method, we are declaring the arrays here, two-dimensional arrays. Now what we are doing, so the variable name can be anything. So for example, so we want to pass directly 2D array. See, these errors are gone now because the variable we are using here, it is not available, like it is not, the scope is not available for this method because it is outside the method. This is declared somewhere in the main method, but that is not accessible within the print array because it is not part of that. So that's why, so parameter can have same name and here it can have same name. There is no problem. And now what we will do, we will pass this because this method is expecting this parameter and we already know this one, and we are passing the same. Now we will call the same with a different parameter, array2d. Okay, maybe here we will put, so you can see, okay, now let's print this. Okay, you can see it is printing. So the thing is, we reduce the code by using the methods. If you put the same code inside the main method, you have to replace this function with this code, again this code. So this variable can be anything. This can be same variable name or like you can put xyz. So the scope of this variable is within this method. Okay. So this is not uh, known by other methods or other places in the class. So that's why it is so it is like this. I mean, so there is no issue even if you give same name. And here you are sending this one directly, not the variable name. You are sending the value to this method. This method will receive that value and assign it to any variable, like you can give anything. But for now, we are just giving the same so that we no need to edit this. And that value will be assigned to this variable and this variable will be used inside this method. So there can be multiple variables also. In this case, what we are doing is, yeah, it is just, uh, yeah, we are just reducing the code. Okay. So this is one of the major advantage of the functions because the functions or methods are used to uh, put the logic which is repetitive, and it's not like for loop. It's like the it can be reused with the different parameters. Okay, different parameters. So we can reuse that method to reduce the number of lines of code. And also it will be more readable. And suppose if you want to put 10 print statements, so in that case, no need to write 10 times that logic. So one time this block of code is reusable, and the only thing is changing is the variable that we can pass as a parameter, and that will be used. So so whatever is there inside that function, that will be called like executed. So you can also the work like execution flow. You can put debugger and also this one. So always Java program execution is top-down approach, like from first line of the main method to the last line of the main method. In a sequence, it will execute. When it sees a function, the control will go to that function and then that will be executed here. Okay, and then once it goes to the end of that function, and then it will go back, the control will go back here, and it will start executing the next method. So like that, it will do uh, the program execution also. Okay. Uh, so whatever variables we declare in this method are not known by any other methods, because the scope of variable is uh, yeah, suppose I also is there. So we are declaring within the for loop, so that's why the scope is within the for loop logic only. We can't access I anywhere else because it is not known. I can't resolve the variable. So that means I is known only within this block because we are declaring here. If you declare outside, actually you can declare outside and you can print here. So that is also possible, but colon semicolon is must, because we are not doing any initialization, we are doing initialization outside like a for while loop. Okay, and I plus plus also we can do at the end of the line. It's exactly same as a while loop. So converting a for loop into while loop is like this. Okay, so yeah, let's run the same. Let's see how it works. So you can see, so I is become 3, and the size is 3 by 3. That's why it is exited after I become 3. The length also 3. 3 less than 3 false. So that's why it exited, and we are printing that I. That is the latest after the for loop. For the I value is 3. 4. Same for both. So here the I variable is declared outside the for loop. So that's why the scope is available to the entire method. Suppose if you declare I after the for loop, so that will give error because this variable is not available, because Java program executes from top down. So whenever you are referencing some variable, that should be declared before calling that or using that variable. So that is the purpose of this, and that's why we are getting compile time errors like, so I can't resolve the variable. So that's why we have to move. Okay. Similarly, J also. You can't print J here because this J is declared within the for loop. So that means it is accessible within the for loop. Even you can't access J here. You can't do even J plus plus here. So because the scope is not available here because this is declared within the for loop. Okay. So, so that is about functions and variable scopes. I mean, which variable is available at what places. So for now, and program flow, okay, let's try to debug this. Okay, so we know like the program starts from top down, and you can see the variables also here. And if you see, so array, this is already declared, this is the variable. So before using that variable, we have to declare that variable. So that's why we have already these two variables. A variable can be here, it is 2D array, and that is the reference of that 2D array, that is a variable. Now when we go inside, there is a step into, okay, when you go inside, so if you see, the control came from this to this. So we are calling the function, so it will go inside that function and it will execute that code. Okay, so yeah, now it will again same top down. So it is doing same thing what we saw in the previous sessions. And then when you break it, now it came back from this end of this line, this is printed, and the control came back to next line of the program. Okay, and same way it will do. You see, we are printing 4 times. That's why it printed 5 times total. So we have written code only once, and we are calling multiple times with the different parameters. So that is the advantage of function. We will see these things in depth with even different parameters also. We can try. Okay, let's try. Okay, maybe we'll take one more example and we will close this for now. Maybe in the future sessions we will look at methods in detail and also the access specifiers, return types. So these there are like couple of access specifiers that we need to know, and also parameters. We will try now one more example. Functions demo 2. Okay, so main method is must, like at least to run the code. So for now we are keeping that. And how we can create a method? We have to create. We can't create a method inside a method, so that is not possible. So method should be within the class. So you can create anywhere else. So for now, so we are saying suppose sum takes two integers, int a, int b. Okay, and then what it will do? It will print the sum of those values. So sum equal to a plus b. So you can do this. So that okay, and we can call the same method. So we can't call a non-static method inside a static method. So that's why we will understand how static works. For now, yeah, we to make it work, we have to give static. And you can see the method, there is no method without arguments. So method is expected to send two variables. So we can give directly values, or we can declare variables and then we can pass the variables. So for now we'll just run this. Okay, let's run this as a Java application. So you can see sum is printed. We can also print for understanding. So a equal to, this is nothing but just formatting. Okay, so okay, let's run this. So sum equal to 30. So now let's call different value. Let's call the method with a different. So this is method declaration or like method logic, and how we can call that method with the method name and open close with the, if there are any parameters required we will give, otherwise it will not. So let's give 100, 200. So now it should call the same method. We are calling the same method with the different values. So this 100 is assigned to this. Okay, let's put a debugger. So you can see the variable a is assigned with 10, b is assigned with 20. So that means like this is how the functions work. So we declared a method and then we have logic inside that method, and the method takes two input parameters and it is not returning. Yeah, we will talk about that later. For now, like what is the main purpose of function? Function is to reuse the code. So we can write the code once and we can reuse that code with the different parameters. And how we can call the method? We can call the method with the name of the function and then the parameters required. Here, this is the declaration of the method signature we call. So what type of input it is expecting, what type of input, like second input and first input. So we have to send the same type, otherwise it will not accept. It will give. Suppose we declared as integer the method signature, but we are passing a double value. So double is not accepted. It's not applicable for as arguments. So we call it as arguments, parameters, inputs. So this those are all synonyms. So sometimes we call it as arguments, sometimes we call it as parameters. Okay, input. So all are meaning same. So we have to give a same type what it is defined. So the method signature we call. Method signature is the method name and then the method like the parameter types. Okay, so here at this time, like in the first method calling, so first line of the method, main method, so sum, it is calling the sum method with these parameters. So those values are assigned to A and B, and then this logic, whatever is there inside, it is getting executed. So here we are doing the formatting. So string and then the value. When you say something without double quotes, it will treat as a value. And then double quotes means string, plus means concatenation. We are concatenating the different values. uh, Maybe at the end I will keep some video for mainly formatting, so yeah, we'll talk about that later. So yeah, so this is also an expression, so this will do first. So it will do a plus b means it will do the sum of a plus b, and then it will just print that value. We can remove this and keep as a separate variable sum, and then we can use sum to print that value, but we can do directly also. So let's say, so it is done two times. Okay, so you can see it is done two times. So that is how we can write methods. Methods are mainly to reuse the logic, common logic with the different parameters. So if you want to print sum for 100 times with a different value, so in that case we can use this. And also we know like calculator program. So here also we are telling 10 plus 20. So when you say equal to, these inputs will come to this method and then those will be passed to this sum method. So that will usually we can have something called return type. So in this case we are just printing here. Instead of that we can send the sum also as a return value for this method, and that value will be catched, means that value will be assigned to some other variable. We will, yeah, we will go deeper into functions, but as of now, very basic idea like functions or methods and variable scopes, like so how this will be assigned and the scope of, suppose here if you say A, it will give error because this A is not defined anywhere in this method. So here we have like declared variable that will be used here, and this value comes from somewhere else when we call that method. So that is what variable scopes and program execution for flow we just saw like in the previous program also. So it will start from top to bottom, like from sequence one by one. When it encounters a method, the control will go to that particular method, and then once that execution is done, it will go back to the previous control, like to the next line of that. So like that, the control flow, like exam program execution works. Okay, so that is all about the functions and in Java also there are a lot of existing reusable methods. So like utility, we call it as utility classes. So utility means reusable methods with the different parameters. So let's say arrays. So if you go inside arrays class, so here we have a method called sorting. So in one dimensional array, this is one dimensional array. We are passing one dimensional array as input, and here the logic will do sorting. And suppose if you give values in different numbers, not in a sequence, this method will do sorting of that value, and then it will update the same array. So arrays dot sort if you call, and you can pass the one dimensional array. Like for example, we can't pass directly the value, so we have to declare. Suppose 20, and then we have to pass the same. So now you can see this is error has gone. So arrays is one of the utility class that is available as part of Java. So that there also we can pass n like any value. So we can create another array. So we no need to like take the code inside that and write every time. So already we have, you can see. So this is the actual logic, and this is also another method, static method. Like so that is where mainly the functions use cases like in real-time code also. So we will have functions. Functions are core part of any programming language. We don't write production like real-time code in main method. Main method like just for learning point of view. So yeah, complex programs like big softwares need many methods and many classes. So for now, for learning point of view, so what is a function? What is the use of function? So yeah, in future, any program we will definitely use a function. So there also we will cover if something is missing. Okay, so if you write this in the first session itself, so you don't understand. So what we have started from, so variables declaration, printing simple text, and then arrays, and then looping the arrays and printing. So these are all sequence of things how we should learn, and we should remember like so when to use what concept. So main thing is how we should be able to analyze this code, how it works. Then only you will remember like we can write the code. So that is about yeah, that's all about functions and methods, variable scopes as of now. Yeah, we will see in depth in the future sessions.